What up, everyone? So, got a special little video here today. Another one of my little crossover videos. So this is going to be some collecting advice, kind of, a discussion topic, and a little bit of just kind of a lecture. So a lot of these topics I have aren't big enough to do their own video anymore, for a lot of reasons, and I'll get around to that. So I've been doing ones that are a little bit of both. So one I've been wanting to do for a while is collecting advice on more collectibles. I did one on blind boxes a while back, and I was going to do one on blind bags, but I didn't really have a ton of information. And the problem I'm seeing with a lot of them is that that advice isn't really relevant anymore. Not that it doesn't work, it's just becoming harder and harder to use. So a lot of things have happened to me specifically today. I didn't plan this video out at all. I've just been thinking because things happened today that got me in a bitter rage, and it just got me thinking, and I wanted to do this video because it's kind of fresh on my mind. So you have to excuse me if this is not well thought out and choreographed very well. I'm just kind of rolling it off the top of my head. But I pretty much do that anyway, so what's the difference? So one thing that happened today, and one thing I want to talk about is things I've been talking about is just the future of collectibles, what the market is doing, what's going to happen with it. And a lot of you know, because I've been saying it for years now, the collectible market is on a major decline. It's in a huge recession right now, as it always is. And people think that it's going to bounce back any minute now, and it's just not going to. It's in a major recession, and it's getting worse and worse as the days go on, and it's not going to bounce back anytime soon. The collectible market was really at its peak around 2013-14 when I started the channel. It was really huge, and it really blew up due to companies like Funko and Kid Robot and Loyal Subjects, like companies like that really blew up. And that surge is not going to come around again for probably another decade, if not longer. So we'll have little ebbs and flows here and there, little dips in the market, little rises here and there depending on pop culture and movies that come out. I'm sure we'll see a little surge after Avengers Infinity War and things like that. But I've been saying for a long time that it's in decline. So what I was saying about my collecting advice, it's kind of not relevant because these things are just becoming extinct now. They're becoming just not attainable anymore. And I'll try to explain it the best I can. So my day started off, I realized something, news came to me that I'd heard about before but I didn't take very seriously. And that is that Toys R Us is going out of business. So I saw a news article on it a few weeks ago, but I didn't really read it, I didn't pay attention to it, and I went to Toys R Us because I'm trying to collect the new series, the Warner Brothers Mystery Minis. They look really cool, I like them, I'm a big fan of Looney Tunes, they look pretty cool, and I wanted to collect them. This is one of the first Mystery Mini sets I've wanted to collect in a very long time, because they've sucked for a long time, and they haven't done anything good for a long time, but this is a classic one, they're very iconic, everyone likes it, so I wanted to go out of my way and get them. The problem with it is they've made it practically impossible to do. So, as you've probably noticed lately, for Mystery Minis, they've almost always been all common. They've almost always been one of 12. That's just to make them more easily attainable. And the reason for that is that companies like Funko are not selling enough products to merit those rare items anymore. If you remember when collectibles were at their peak, Funko was putting out products and they had rarities that were of 1 out of 144. Extremely hard to find, but it was attainable to do because they were pushing out so many products. Because when they sold these products to stores, they would sell them by the crate load, so they would have constant boxes they could put out so people could actually collect them. And after they started to decline, they got rid of 1 of 144 and went down of 1 out of 172. Still pretty rare, but that's kind of what they were doing. And then it got to a certain point later that companies were only sending out 1 box to each store, so it made no sense to make them of 172 and 1 of 36 because the stores weren't getting enough of these boxes for people to actually collect them. So they made a lot of their series just all common 1 of 12. So I'm sure you've seen that a lot lately, and the quality's kind of died down too for the same reason. So I assume the same thing would happen with this Warner Brothers series, that they would just have a set of 12 and they would be all common. It wasn't like that. So they showed that they were going to do exclusives again, which they hadn't done a ton lately. They still do here and there, but they usually do like 1 company gets exclusives, maybe 2. But this one they did 3, and they're going back to that some of their series that are coming out where 3 stores are going to get exclusives. So they got Target and Walgreens, and I think the other one is, yeah, Toys R Us. So these are very hard to get. So when they get exclusives to Hot Topic, I don't mind at all. Hot Topic's really cool about it. They've become like a collectibles store where they know what it's like to be a collector. They know about getting a full case. They know about all that stuff. They're super good about it, and I like that. GameStop's number 2 on the list. They're pretty cool about it too, to the point where they'll set things aside, they'll write down your number. When a full case comes in, they'll call you up and let you know, so they're pretty cool. Then we get to Target, where it's like, now they're getting like borderline retarded because they don't know about that stuff. They would have no system for setting things aside. They have no idea when things are coming in. They don't even know if they're going to get stuff, but at least they can kind of look it up. Then we get to like Walmart, and then Walgreens is on the bottom. Well, these people have no idea. They cannot tell their asshole from their elbow. They don't know anything about collectibles. They don't know about the series. They never heard of it. Some of the stores don't even get it, but they still get exclusives. So it makes it a huge pain in the ass to even get the common ones, because even if you go to that store, they don't even have it on the shelf. Some stores don't even get that product. So that right there already made it a little bit difficult, but not impossible, because I thought they were going to be all common. Then the statistics came out, and it showed that all the store exclusives are not common at all, but they're actually all 1 of 136 and 1 out of 72. So that makes it damn near impossible to collect these, because like I said, some of these stores only get 1 box of 12, if 1 at all. So the odds of even one store getting 1 figure that's 72 rarity is already slim enough, but the odds of you going to that store and getting it, it's just damn near impossible. So that kind of rubbed me the wrong way. I get that they do that. I don't mind it sometimes. I don't mind that figures are rare because I've learned how to get them. But when they're at stores like that, my collecting advice does no good. So I've shown you guys in the past how there's box layouts, and it'll show which figures are where, so you know how to collect the rare figures. I did that with the sci-fi and horror ones. Worked like a charm. Didn't really have to waste any money, as I knew exactly where they were and I could pick them out. Stores stocked a lot of them. They had multiple boxes, so you could buy a whole case if you wanted to. But that was years ago, and now that we're at this point where they're just not stocking them enough. So back to the Toys R Us thing. So I decided that I need to get out there and I need to start checking. And apparently some stores have gotten them and some haven't. But I went to Toys R Us, and it's like a ghost town in there. Since they're shutting down their stores, everything is on sale. They just discounted everything in the entire store, and it just looks like a mess in there. It's just total chaos. Things are off the shelves. It's just complete mess. And the point to that is they're not stocking anything. So Toys R Us is getting all these exclusive figures, and the series that are coming out, they have planned for Toys R Us. They have planned exclusives, and by the time those figures come out, the store might not even be in business anymore. So it's just weird. I was looking at the Deadpool ones that are coming up and the Nickelodeon Mystery Minis. Both look really cool. Toys R Us has exclusives to one of them, I can't remember which one it is, that comes out like months from now. And it's like, that store may not even exist at that point, so why are they still getting exclusives? And it seems odd to me that these stores are not capitalizing on this, and I think it's such a damn shame. And this is what really irritated me, because a company like Toys R Us is going out of business because they're not making enough money, and here I am, the consumer, wanting to give them money for their product, and they don't even have it. So it just irritates me that there's just such this bad business model here that we can't even get the things they want. It's like this business has product, the consumer wants the product, we have money to give them, but there's just this disconnect along the way, and now I see why these big, huge companies are going out of business. And I wish I could just like talk to these people and shake some sense into them, because one of the things I saw was that there's a GoFundMe or Kickstarter, one of those things for Toys R Us, where the crowd can fund it. And it's happened before where they've saved companies, but no one's been in such debt as Toys R Us is. They're like almost $100 million in debt, and so they have I'm pretty sure it's GoFundMe, I can't remember which side it is, one of those where the people, the community, can help save the business. The only problem with that is the goal they need to meet is $1 billion. That's their goal. So, and you know, I'm not against helping out. I'm not against donating. I'm not against charity. But the reason I'm not going to, and the reason a lot of other people aren't going to, is because it's not going to solve anything. People are going to give their money and they get nothing in return. There's nothing that they gain from it other than keeping that store around. Even if we got Toys R Us out of debt, they're still going to have the same business model, so they're still going to go out of business again because of things like this. And it's the same thing with Target. after I went to Toys R Us and saw that they're going out of business, I kind of had to give up on it. I wanted the Looney Tunes from this Warner Brothers Mystery Mini series. Those are the ones I wanted, and those are all the exclusives, of course. Like, the ones you want are the ones that are hard to find. So, damn it, screensaver. So, I tried my luck at Target, and a similar thing, where they had them out for a while, but they had them in the wrong section. As some of you have noticed, if you go to Target, they've actually made a separate Funko section, a collectible section, which is smart. That's a good idea. That's a good business strategy. That's what they should do. But they're not capitalizing on it, because I go by that section every time I'm at Target. Whether I'm getting food, whether I'm getting beer, whether I'm buying toilet paper to wipe my ass with, it doesn't matter. I walk by it every time just to see what's up, just to see what's new. The toy section, on the other hand, I don't always go by. Just kind of every once in a while I kind of glaze past it, because that section usually doesn't have the stuff I want. I like the collectible stuff. So they've done good by separating it, but they haven't done well because they've been putting things in the wrong section here and there. And that's what happened again with these Warner Brothers Mystery Minis. I found a box of them that was empty, but it was in the children's section, which I don't blame them for putting it there like it's kid stuff, but they really should have known that the Warner Brothers and the Hanna-Barbera stuff would have appealed more to adults than it would for kids. So those characters are still relevant, but the people that are going to collect those are probably adults because we identify with them more. Those are from such a long time ago, like people my age identify with them more than kids probably would. And they sold out, and I tried to ask them when they're getting more in, and they don't think they're going to. So each store, not even all of them, some of the Target stores got one box, sold out, and are just not going to restock it. And I say, that's so stupid. There's so many things they have on the shelves that just aren't selling, that are just generic, that aren't collectible, that you can get anywhere, that you can buy online, that you can buy on their website. So it's no wonder that these brick and mortar stores are going out of business. And then they have these things, the one thing that would get people off their ass and into the store, the one thing that could save these companies, they're not even putting it on the shelves. It's like, why? Why would you do that? And that's exactly what's been happening with Toys R Us. They have a store full of stuff that you can get anywhere. They have these overly generic baby toys and kids toys, and I'm sure kids like to go in there and it's a fun experience, but at the end of the day you can usually find those things cheaper online. So it's no surprise that most physical stores are kind of going out of business and are going extinct. So it's not really a big surprise there to anyone. But the fact that these companies are still getting exclusive things where serious collectors are interested in them, but they put almost no effort into putting them on the shelves. And again, it's like, that's the one thing you have. That's the only thing that's going to save your store, and that's the one thing you're not doing. Why? Like, why would you not capitalize on that? So this is where the discussion topic comes in. I wonder if anyone out there does have the answers to that. Why they don't do these things? Do you notice that thing? And what you guys think about that? Because for the first time in a while, I really wanted to collect this Warner Brothers series, but it seems like it's going to be literally impossible to do. And I've even looked on eBay, and some of these figures have come up, but they're crazy prices. And there's just no way I can afford a whole series like that where it's 4 sets of series, the base one, the Target one, the Toys R Us one, and the Walgreens one, and you know that something that's 1 of 72 Walgreens exclusive is going to go for well over $100 for one figure because it's literally just that rare. So it's just a crazy concept to me that companies are going out of business. I have money to give them to save their business. They're just not taking it. They're not doing it. And it seems ridiculous to me. And the collecting advice portion of this I'll talk about now, and another example of it. The same thing where it's also discussion. A few months back, I wanted to make a video about collecting blind bags. I did one about collecting blind boxes because they're in a very specific spot in the case of 12. So that's kind of the best you can do, but if they're not in stores, you're kind of fucked anyway, so who cares? But blind bags were a different thing where it's a different collecting system. Now, the good thing about them is that usually, if they have them in store, you can kind of feel around and guess which character you want, which is good for you and also kind of bad for business in the same sense. So again, the only thing getting people to your store and buying your blind bags is the exclusivity of those. I wanted to collect the Street Fighter pint-sized heroes. That's what got me thinking about making that video, because Walmart did exclusives, and the problem with that was that the advice I was going to give was ordering them online. Some companies are actually good about selling full cases now. Hot Topic does it rarely, not always. Again, I don't know why not, but they do. On their website, they will sell cases of 12 for mystery minis. They've only done it for a few series here and there, but you have the option. It's like, that's perfect. That's great. I don't have to go into the store. I would buy a full case anyway, so that makes it really great. But again, they only do it few and far between, and I don't understand why. So many collectors would buy the full case of them and would happily do it online, but they've only done it for like 1 or 2 series. Like, it's not any extra work to sell them by the case to make a listing on your site for it. Why not do it? Same with Walmart. They've been doing it for mystery minis where you can buy a full box of 24. And that's how I got a lot of them. I collected the Power Rangers pint-sized heroes. That's how I did it. Because that was the only way to do it, because they weren't putting it in the stores. Again, I don't know why. Here was the problem they had with the Street Fighter ones. There was a base set that had no exclusives in it, and there was a Walmart exclusive set that had Walmart exclusives in it. For some ungodly reason, Walmart was stocking both of them. Why? I don't know. Probably the worst business decision I've ever seen in my life, where they would go through the trouble to get exclusives for their store, not put them in their store, but instead put the regular versions in the store. Of all the Walmarts I went to, there was only one store that even carried those, and the box they had was the non-exclusive versions. And I thought maybe they just didn't label it. Maybe they just didn't label them exclusive because Funko's dumb as fuck. So I went and actually checked the bags and sat there for like an hour, felt through every single one, all 24, and they didn't have the exclusives. And I was like, that's weird. How is that possible that they would have exclusives but not put out an exclusive box? So I went to their website and ordered a case of 24. And again, the site didn't say anything about exclusives. It was just a case of 24 from Walmart. I thought, maybe I just missed one. Maybe I was wrong, and maybe that there's just some glitch here. They just, for some reason, didn't print it on the back or something like that. So I ordered a case of 24, came to the house, same thing, felt through all of them, not a single exclusive. So Walmart was selling both of them at the same time, and they didn't even have the listing for the exclusive ones on the website. And again, why? I'm sure it's not an easy task to get Funko to make you exclusives. I'm sure those companies probably have to pay something extra for it to get exclusives made for them, and then they put no effort into selling them to people. People want them. I want them. I have money. I'm saying take my money, and they're refusing to. And they wonder why they're losing money and going out of business, because they're just so dumb in that sense. And I just didn't understand it. So way later, I think they finally did put the exclusive box online. I don't know if they ever did or not, but it was just such a weird concept, and it just completely blew my mind. And I had to go through this huge hassle of getting them and trying to return them to the store. They wouldn't take them to the store, so I had to package them back up and send them back to the mailing company, and they had a restocking fee, and it was just a huge pain in the ass. So that was going to be my advice, is to buy them online, because some websites do sell cases of them. But my advice is also be very, very wary of that. If they do not say specifically on there that there's exclusives in that box, there might not be, and you might not want to buy them that way. So that's where I will repeat it again and say that I have this collecting advice for people, but it's only relevant if these companies aren't fucking retarded about it. So I don't know what to do at that point. If the companies don't put it on the shelves, what good is my collecting advice? If you can't physically get your hands on a box, who cares what location the rare figure's in, because it doesn't exist to begin with. And the same thing's going to happen with these other series. This one with Warner Brothers. I don't know if half the Toys R Us out there are ever going to get them. Funko had to have shipped them out, but I don't think they're ever going to stock the shelves, so I don't know what's going to happen to them. And the same with the Deadpool series, and the same with this Nickelodeon Nicktoons series. They both look really cool, and again, I'm excited for these series finally in a long time. But what's going to happen if this company goes out of business? Where do those go? Are they going to keep their website online? Are they all of a sudden going to start selling cases of 24? Like, what's going to happen with that? And why are these companies not capitalizing on the one thing that's going to make them money? So that's where I'd like to hear your guys' thoughts on it too. Do you have the same problem when you're trying to collect things? Are there that many collectors still out there? Are there, has everyone's interest in it just kind of died off? And that's what I'd like to talk about. So that's why I said it's kind of a mix of different things here. I have a little bit of collecting advice in there, and a little bit of just a lecture, and a lot of a discussion topic, and that's what I'd like to know. And if anyone out there has answers, maybe there's a higher up that works for Toys R Us that happens to watch this and has some news for all of us, so maybe we can see what happens with it. So that's why I was so frustrated today, and it was for this series specifically because at this point it seems like it's damn near impossible. And a lot of the figures that are exclusive, even if I was a millionaire and had the money to spend $100 on a figure, they're not even being listed online. They're so rare that people don't even have them to sell, so they're not even listing them on eBay, which is crazy to me. This is just such an odd concept. I get that collectibles are in the decline. I get that they're not shipping out as much figures. I get that companies aren't making as much, but of the money they make, why don't they capitalize on it? Why don't they focus their efforts on the things that count and the things that matter? And I bet you that's what happened with Walmart. They probably had a delay on the exclusive version of those pint-sized Street Fighter ones, so they put out the regular ones and they didn't sell because who the hell would buy them? Why would you go to Walmart and buy ones that were specifically non-Walmart exclusives? Why would you pay for them there instead of getting them cheaper online? So they probably put those out and they didn't sell for obvious reasons, and Walmart's like, oh, these figures don't sell. We're not going to order more and put them out. And it's like, you morons. If you had just put out the right ones to begin with, you would have made money. You wouldn't have this overstock. You wouldn't have to put them on clearance. People would be more motivated to come to your store. You would be keeping things in business. You would be keeping employees. You'd be keeping jobs for Americans. So many things would be better. There's no reason not to, and it just seems like a crooked system. So I'm just very infuriated by it, and I wish I could do something about it. I wish Toys R Us didn't have to go out of business because I love that place. They're one of the few places that sells really nice collectibles. They sell the cheap stuff too, which is fun, but they actually sold like NECA. Well, I got my NECA Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the movie versions of them, which are totally fucking awesome. I love those things, and they had them in the store. That's how I found out about them. I would have never known about them because I don't watch as many YouTube videos as I like to anymore, so I don't get to follow that many things, so I wouldn't have found out about them if not for that store. They sell NECA stuff, they sell statues, they sell big stuff and small stuff, collectibles of all kind. They just really needed to focus their effort. If they focused more on the things that sold better, not specifically just a matter of pop figures and mystery minis, but those specific series, they did any sort of market research out there, or literally just came and talked to me, I could have helped them out, and I feel like it could have saved a huge company like that, and it's just such a shame to see that company go away. Like, it's just crazy to me to think that we're not going to have Toys R Us anymore. It's not going to exist anymore. And all these exclusives that were supposed to be may just never exist. They may get thrown into a garbage pile somewhere in a landfill, and they may never come to be. And it just blows my mind and makes me so sad to hear about that. And I'm sure it does for a lot of you too. I'm sure people my age, people watching this video, grew up with Toys R Us, going there as a kid and have fond memories, and probably had dreams of taking your own children there one day, and you may never get to. So that's such a bummer. And I would say, like, yeah, go on that GoFundMe and give some money, but I don't think that's going to solve it. I don't think it's even possible for them to make $1 billion, even if we all chipped in. I don't think that's... You want to come up here? Pup's wandering. Come on. I don't know if it's going to be possible for them to make $1 billion, one. And two, like I said, even if they do, I don't think that's going to fix anything because they have the wrong business model, just like Walmart, just like Target. That's why their shelves are full of shit and it's a total mess there, and the things you do want aren't even there because there's not space on these shitty shelves to put things you actually want. So, let me know what you guys think about it. Are you horribly sad about it? Am I just rambling on and nobody cares? It's okay to say that. It's perfectly fine. I want to know your guys' thoughts too. Is this news to you about Toys R Us closing down its doors for good? What is so tasty on my hand? Throw out some guesses. Whatever you want to talk about. It's all good. But yeah, I want to know what you guys think about it because this day to me has been so infuriating. Trying to collect something that should be easy. This business, Funko itself, is probably dying too because they're closing their companies. These subscription box companies are closing their doors for good, and it just doesn't have to be that way. If they just played it a little smarter, it's not going to bring the whole business back 100%, but it could help out and it could keep these companies afloat long enough to where we could at least keep buying their products. Because I would hate for Toys R Us to go out of business and for also something like Funko go out of business where we don't even have the option to collect them anymore. So that would bum me out most of all. So I see a problem and I want to kind of stop it at the source while I can and maybe get the word out there to the right people so I don't have to stop collecting because I don't want to do that either. Okay. That is so much lick. That is plenty. So I've rambled on long enough. Like I said, this isn't very well thought out, but it's just infuriated me, and I want to get this video, and I want to talk about it, and I want to hear your guys' thoughts on it too. And if you're excited about this Warner Brothers series, if you're excited about the Deadpool one, if you're excited about the Nicktoons one, let's hear about it in the comments. Let's talk about more videos to come. Thank you all for watching. Love you all. Peace. Oh my God. Okay. 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 And Pup's just been wandering around this whole time, doing circles around me like a shark. Isn't that right? Like a shark. What? You gonna go bye-bye? You gonna go bye-bye? You go for a walk? You go for a walk? I need to finish my beer. I had barely any.